Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hardcore Fab Shop. Today's video, we are working with this right here. This is the kill shot from Aces EFI, and today's video, we're going to install it, and we're going to see how bad it is to install, and if it works, and all that kind of stuff, I guess. I'm excited.
I'm too.
So we were going to put it on our C50 build that we're doing here. This is a 454 truck, and right now it's kind of blown apart, so it's actually going to be really easy for you guys to see and for us to install. So let's do it. So we're not going to do a complete unboxing thing or anything like that, but I will show you kind of some of the stuff that comes with this kit. So we've got our throttle body. It does have a separate computer that's not part of the throttle body, which I'm pretty excited about that part of it. That should be really a pretty good upgrade. I don't know, there's some mounts in there, some stickers. All of your wiring, of course, is going to be in there. And then we've got some more bolts and gaskets and, you know, typical kind of little stuff right there. This is an O2 sensor. We've already opened this up and pulled the O2 sensor bung out and put it in the exhaust. What do you got over there?
It comes with a little grommet there, and I believe that's the coolant temperature sensor here.
Okay.
Little thing there.
Yep. And then
keychain and bag of bolts.
more bolts.
Another bung for the O2 sensor, it looks like.
Oh, we didn't have to open that up.
And then little USB to Type-C.
Okay.
That's about it over here.
Then this is the master kit, so it came with all of that there, and then everything we needed for our fuel system too. So we've got a fuel pump, a couple of filters, regulator. I don't know what this is or what this is, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna have to go download the instructions and look this stuff up and see what that is. But yeah, regulator, gauge, pretty much what you'd expect to see. And this is the cool part here. This month they're offering this as a free giveaway with everything that you buy. And this is a 7-inch screen, and it's got looks like just the cable with it. But this screen's also got the GPS built into it, so you can do the speedometer and all that kind of stuff, plus your regular gauges that you're going to want for this system. So pretty cool deal, and pretty neat being that big too. None of the other ones out there on the market offered to be that big.
And usually, if they're not offering the 7-inch screen, isn't it usually like a 5 or 5.5 inch?
Yeah, normally it's a 5.5 inch, which I think is still bigger than what most of them come with.
Yeah, like Holly's only like 3.5 or something like that.
Yep, for sure. So anyways, yeah, let's get to installing some of this stuff here. So we're going to start off with the fuel pump. Connor's got the bracket for that, and I think you just unscrew that enough to slip it through there and then tighten it down.
I think so.
So that piece we've already tucked and made a mount over here on the frame. You guys might have to do something different for yours, but we just welded a piece of strap in there. Can't hardly even see it. Barely see it. Anyways, we put that piece of strap right there to be able to mount that to. It's already got a couple holes in it. The other thing that we've already done too here to be kind of prepping for this deal is we also already have our O2 sensor bung stuck in there in our exhaust. And anytime you got some fuel injection stuff and you got O2 sensor, you need about probably 18 inches to 2 foot worth of pipe behind it. And so we went ahead and just put a little bit of pipe and some mufflers on there. So it'll be a little quieter while we're working with everything as well. So Connor got that one slipped on there. There was 2 pieces of rubber. This one was in there along with the piece of rubber that's in there now. And this one's a little bit thicker. So we popped this one out and put that one in, and it seems to be pretty good. So you can go ahead and bolt her in place. I guess we're doing the right thing. I don't know what this is for, unless this one, does it go under here? It can go under there.
Mm-hmm.
Help take away a little bit of the vibration. Yeah, cut that down for that. I guess before we go any farther, I ought to go and download the instructions real quick and look at them real fast and go from there. I'm not really instructions type of guy, but just to make sure we're not screwing up anything that we're going to need later. All right, Connor got our fuel pump mounted up there. And then he is now working on the throttle body up here. That's pretty just straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super simple.
Just basically like bolting on a carburetor.
Just like it.
And then I figured out what this is. This is a check valve that normally would go here in the end of a pump. But apparently, according to Aces, that pump doesn't need this. So apparently that's extra and it was just in the box. So that's not a big deal. And then I figured out that this other little thing in here that I didn't know what it was. I can't get out of the box now. This thing is a tool for being able to put together our lines that we're going to be putting together. These are the PT, FEEW, XYZ, LMNOP, something or another line. I forget what it is, but I haven't ever used that kind of line before. It's kind of like plastic with nylon coating over the outside of it. I'm used to this regular AN line, so that'll be new to mess with, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, throttle body's bolted down, and now we have a temperature sending unit. The only place that we had that it fit is back there by the distributor. So needless to say, he's taking out that plug. I'm gonna put that in there.
Sweet.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Right thread?
Think so.
Sweet.
Maybe. A little tight.
I guess we know where the O2 sensor goes, so that'd be an easy enough one to put on next. This is going to probably end up getting screwed to the firewall. And that's about everything out of our first box here. Other than our wiring, of course. We'll be moving on to this stuff. That doesn't go in there. So like I said, we went ahead and already got our bung in there in place right there. To be able to put the O2 sensor in, you guys might have to do something similar to that. I guess
It's already got anti-seize on it.
sure enough. Also for us right now currently, I don't know if you guys are familiar with these truck cabs or not, but these trucks have a gas tank back there behind the seat. So for us, right now, until we move it, we're gonna have this hanging off right here. So that's gonna be our fuel out of the tank. And that's gonna go straight down. But we're putting the fuel tank, or the fuel pump, clear back here, because eventually this gets a big old sleeper built on here. And I'm gonna move that fuel tank from there back to the back of the sleeper, and then it'll be down and over to the fuel pump, instead of going backwards like it is currently. So that fitting that was up there on the cab will end up being up here somewhere, and we can just come out and around and over to the pump. Got that one tight then?
Yep.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah, the fuel stuff, I guess.
Let's start running fuel lines, yep. All right, so this came with a whole big thing full of fittings. We done snagged some out of there. Came with a bunch of hose, a couple different sizes, one bigger and one smaller. Connor is putting a couple fittings already in our first filter, so this is going to be the pre-filter before the pump. The bigger one takes out most of the trash to begin with. So we've got a couple fittings in each end of that.
Yep, we'll tighten them down here.
Okay, and then we'll have to start putting some of these other ones together for a hose. And like I said, this is the first time I've used this stuff. I guess we'll see how that goes. And that does come with a little cushion clamp thing there to be able to screw it to the frame or something. So that's what he's working on now.
Does it come with any hardware or screws or anything, or you can find some?
There is some screws in here, I think.
I've seen some, but it looks like it's just for the wiring.
Yeah, never mind. Probably have to find something. All right, let's give this a shot here trying to make this hose. So we're going to start off with regular fitting. And just take that apart and I take the nut that comes with that and try to shove it on here first. And then apparently you're supposed to take the tape off at that point, because there's a little fitting there, or nut, or whatever you want to call it, that slides on the end of it here. So we've got this outside sheathing, and then we've got a plastic tube on the inside, and then this little piece here is supposed to go over the tube and push its way on up in there between the tube and the outside sheathing. And that's apparently what this thing is for, is to help shove that on there. I'll say this is my first attempt at trying to do this, so probably trying to do it wrong or something here, but it's what I read that we're supposed to do, so it's supposed to just work. See, it's not working. It's kind of shoving on there, but not really.
Maybe heat gun a little.
Yeah, it's still braided, nylon braided stuff on the outside. I don't think the heat's going to make a difference on that.
I was talking about isn't that like a plastic tube in the middle?
Yeah, I don't think it's that part that's having a hard part sliding over. I think it's the sliding under the other. Maybe we're supposed to fray it back a little bit. Just enough to give it some room here. The whole purpose of this stuff is it's supposed to be good for all kinds of chemicals, so WD shouldn't hurt it.
There you go.
That's how this tool's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be the other way, pushing this end. It's a hammer. Now, what's the chances of getting this nut to go back up here?
Looks like you probably need to trim some of that.
So we have successfully got it to fitting from here to push down to where it locks into that piece that we've added in there onto the line. Now we just got to get the nut up enough to go over here and start catching some threads and tighten up. I guess that's going to be some kind of a compression fitting at that point that's going to really lock it on there and keep it from coming off. Now I'm going to call that. These are just aluminum fittings, so they're pretty easy to strip out. Okay, well that was horribly painful for you guys to watch, I'm sure. and we're sweating our rear off because we have to turn the fan off so you guys don't have just a fan noise in the video. So we're gonna knock out a bunch of these hoses. We're gonna turn the fan back on, knock out a bunch of these hoses, and then we might show you what we figure out in the end when we get to the last one on the easiest way to make this stuff all happen and work. All right, so here's a quick little rundown real fast of how we've got everything kind of routed here if you want to see it. So to begin with, like we talked about earlier, we got the hose coming out of there. That's just going to be a regular piece of 3/8 hose. I have to go get a fitting to be able to hook it up to our filter. So let me, I don't have that yet. So, and they didn't send that, and I'm not going to be mad at them about not sending that because they don't know what you're doing and where and how and all that kind of stuff on your vehicle. So, but from there on past, then they've got everything in the kit, it seems like, that you're going to need. So let me show you here real quick first where we're at. So it's going to come out of the tank. This is the fitting that I'm going to need to be able to tie that up to there. And then once we're here, this is a fitting, filter, fitting, make up a hose. That is our pump, got our bracket and everything all mounted there. And then there's like our 10 micron filter. That's the super ultra fine one, so we don't get any issues there. Got that fed through the frame. Come up through here. There is a cushion clamp in here on the bottom side of that, holding that up to where it can't go anywhere. Ignore that. And then there's another cushion clamp here. This will be accessible from up above through that panel on the floor if we ever needed to do anything and be able to get to that. And then I like it kind of just being tight here, snug up here against the bottom of the back of the transmission and underneath the bottom of the distributor. Kind of comes around and goes up to there. Let me get you a view of this side of it. So pretty clean the way that all turned out. Now I got to make one for right here, and then this is going to go from here to our pressure regulator, but I can't do that yet until I get the cap back down. So I'm going to go ahead and mess with some of the wiring that we need to be able to do here so I don't have to crawl around on the floor before we drop the cab back down. So we're ready for some wiring now. So this is our wiring harness. We've got it pulled out here, and after kind of going through it, they give us a grommet here where we can put some of it inside, or we can have it all outside underneath the hood. I don't like having all this stuff showing under the hood, so we're going to shove it under the dash, and we're going to shove it through this grommet. And I think all that we're going to need is this little bit right here to actually come through the hood, or come through the firewall and be under the hood. So we got to get this all fed through there, and then we'll start hooking some of this stuff up. I think you can drop the glove box door and just feed all of it right over the top of that duct.
Yep, see it right there.
Just like that. Okay, quick update. We've been working on stuff like hooking all this stuff up. We got the wiring coming through and another fuel line ran here. Let me show you that a little bit better. So there's that grommet that we were talking about coming through the firewall, and then our leads coming down, come over here to the throttle body. So just one plug in there on the side of the throttle body. And then the other ones, probably can't see them very good. There's the temperature sending unit that we put in back there, and then the other one is the wire coming down going to the O2 sensor. We just kind of ran it down the back of the block and down there to where it would made up. So that all worked out pretty good. Our return fuel lines, we've got those hooked up in here as well. So we've got fuel coming in here, and then it actually bypasses, get this out of the way, it bypasses through the unit, and then what it doesn't need, the return is here, and it comes down and around, and then it goes up here to our pressure regulator. I did have some problems with this. This is supposed to have a gauge that comes in here on the side, and I can't get that Allen head plug out of there, so I can't put the gauge on there, so I don't know exactly where I'm at with fuel pressure, so that's a bit of an issue. We do still need to make the line that comes out of the bottom of that and down, and then that will return to the tank. That's going to be different for every application, so you guys will just have to figure that one out on your own if you're going to try to do this yourself. Whatever it's going to take to get you to hook back up to the tank. Also, let's see here, we've also got from that main harness that you guys seen, we had 4 wires that needed to be hooked up that were just regular old wires hanging out here, and 2 of them are coming through here and going to hook up under the hood, and they are positive for the battery and are negative. I can't get that to roll over, but it's negative. I think that pretty well catches you guys up. Oh, no, one more thing. So I will have to run a couple more wires out of that grommet and down to the distributor. So you got your regular plug here for the distributor. I had to go get a new pigtail because mine didn't have the little clippy things on there, and I was worried it was going to fall out while I was driving down the road. So we're going to have one that's going to be power from the key, hot, just like normal, like it would be if it's just carbureted. And then the other one, which is the tack out, is going to end up going into our computer inside there. Now this system is as basic as it comes, so we don't have any controls with the computer to be able to control timing or anything like that, but it does need that signal from there so that it kind of has an idea of what's going on with the motor. And then inside here, I didn't have the little cardboard thing in here in the glove box, and those are kind of junky anyways, and I never use anything for my glove box, so I went ahead and made this panel. There we go. Made this metal panel in here, kind of folded it up and screwed the relays and stuff to it up there, and the computer to it, you know, down here on that part of it. So that made that a pretty clean install that way. And these are the other 2 of the 4 wires I was talking about out of that main harness that we need to hook up. And let's see, I'm forgetting now off the top of my head what they are. Ignition from the key. Oh, and the fuel pump. And it's fuel pump plus, so I believe that's going to be our trigger wire for our fuel pump. There is another pigtail that comes with this thing, and it's got a bunch of wires on it for a bunch of other stuff. And I'm not remembering now off the top of my head what they all do. I know we've got one out of here that we're saving for our fan. So I think that's the green one here that I'm going to hook up. And then the gray one is the wire that goes to the distributor to give it a idea of what we're doing there for timing on the computer. And then the little red one, hold on a second. I don't remember what that one is. Man, I have a hard time seeing that. Fuel level. Oh yeah, I forgot. So that actually has a thing in there that hooks to our sending unit for our fuel pump sending unit there in the top of the tank that will tell us on our dash what our fuel level is. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I had to pull that out of there, of course, and we'll have to try to hook that up. But other than that, so we got these 3 wires and we got the other 4 wires, so 7 wires to hook up, and this thing will be where we should be able to power it up at that point, I guess. Oh, one more plug-in in here that we have to deal with. I'll show you that. So this one is the one I just had in my hand. It plugs into there. And then there's this one right here, and that one will plug into our dash. We also have a coil and a couple other things that I'll have to tie up in here that we're not using, but would be there if you wanted to take this to the next level and make this a nicer system with, you know, controlled timing and whatnot. All right, I think we're finally there where we can go ahead and try to start this thing. We've got a little bit of a mess here that we need to clean up and some other stuff here that, you know, needs to be taken care of once the front clip is on, but we can't really take care of any of that until that's done, so just let it hang for now. I've also got this return off of the regulator, just kind of running around here and through the door, and, well, I'll just show you. All the extra hose, and then up there. So we're returning to the fuel tank, just probably not the way we should, but good enough for now. I went through and pulled a bunch more wires out of here, so all this stuff down here on the floor is crap that I pulled out of the harness that we don't need anymore. That and some of this. So get that cleaned up here in a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you the final results of what it looks like in our glove box area here. So, grab our light. So, a little bit of a mess, not too bad for what it is. The only thing we've got left in here is this fan relay, or the fan, so we need to put a relay in for that, but there again, we can't really do that until we have a radiator and a front clip. So I think we're finally now to the point where we can go ahead and turn this thing on, see if we power up everything, and go ahead and go through the startup wizard, or I'm gonna let Connor go through the setup wizard stuff here.
Put my earbud up.
Put your earbud up. Then I can video and you guys can kind of watch and see as we go through things here. Keys on. Powered up. We do have the kill shot. And I think you're supposed to hit the little menu button thing up in the top right. And then there's a wizard. And then startup wizard.
Classic or?
Just a regular kill shot, I think. We got a stock cam. Next. The first one, yep. And we are running a magnetic distributor, so just a regular old distributor, yep. V8.
How does this work?
I don't know. Well, that ain't gonna work if it's only showing 4 cylinders.
No.
Oh no, that's injectors. I need to read. Yeah, we've got 4 injectors. 400-pound injectors, so we're good.
Sweet.
I think we're good there, yep. And cubic inches, we need more.
54.
And that looks fine to me. And then I think we just save it. Now please key off for 5 seconds. Okay, key off for 5 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, well, I guess we can try to start it, maybe.
Maybe.
Hopefully this has got enough battery to start it.
Hopefully. Try it now or?
Yeah, go for it. No. Okay, let's get the battery charger on there. Let me double check and make sure everything's out of the way here. I don't see anything that is, so nothing's on the exhaust. Yeah, it's good enough to start for a minute. So now what are we gonna do?
So you can see fuel up to the
Well, without the key on and everything, we're not gonna see fuel. It's not a carburetor.
yeah.
Well, we've been trying to figure out how come we don't have any power to the fuel pump, and then I got to looking, and there's no fuse in here for the fuel pump relay, so we need a little bit of a fuse in there. Oops. Get that in there. I bet the fuel pump works now.
I bet.
Hey. Now let's see if we got any leaks anywhere. Dry, dry, dry. Dry back there?
Nope.
Nope.
Right here it's leaking.
May have never tightened that.
Oh, need to put this back on. Yeah, just this right here.
Okay, grab a wrench and tighten that one up. Turn this back off. That is a pretty quiet fuel pump. I don't think we're dry now, so I think we're good.
Sweet.
Okay, so we still weren't getting fuel, but we've got this extremely long hose here from the tank, and then it's actually siphoning from the top of the tank and running down and under and all of that. So I'm really kind of thinking that it wasn't getting prime. So we went ahead and took the air compressor and we blew in the neck of the tank to help try to prime this thing and cycled the key a couple of times, and now it does seem like we got some fuel. So we're ready to give her a shot again.
I guess.
Okay, looks like everything's clear. I'm pretty sure we got fuel this time. I don't see fuel pouring out anywhere. So let's go for it. Okay, we're still not starting. Guess I need to double check timing and whatever, make sure we didn't drop the distributor 180 off or something, I guess. All right, I've been playing with this thing a little bit more, and this is kind of where I'm at. So I felt really good about the way I timed it, or the way I dropped the distributor in. I don't think I'm 180 off. And I decided to go ahead and just grab a little bit of fuel real quick and just dump down the throttle body and see what happens. And I did that, and it fired right up. It only ran, obviously, for about a second and a half, which was enough to hear the flow masters and the big pipe and the headers all together on this big block, and it sounded really, really good. But anyways, past that, fired. So I know it's not, my timing situation or, 180 off or anything like that, at least, probably still needs timed. But so we're still dealing with the fuel issue, and I didn't have the fuel pressure gauge on the regulator back there at that point. So I went ahead and okay, well, maybe I just need to turn up the regulator. I don't know what the pressure is, but I can't turn it up without knowing where I'm turning it up to. So I went ahead and put an Allen wrench in there and tried to get that plug out, and went ahead and stripped it out just like I figured I would if I put any more pressure on it, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So I went down to one of our local little speed shops we've got here, and you can see up here, I bought a AN fitting that would just go in line there, and then it's got a port on it that we can screw a gauge to. So I got that fitting and just took the gauge that came with the kit and put in there, and we cycled the key on, and it does some kind of crazy stuff. I guess I'll just set the camera up and show you guys real quick. And I did originally put it over on the regulator, just an FYI, but it shouldn't really matter. It should be the same throughout. And I figured it's more important to actually know here than it is there anyway, so that we know for sure that we've got the right pressure at the throttle body. That was just my thought. So we'll go ahead and zoom this in a little bit more and turn the key on and let's see what happens. So the 45 pounds looks good. That's exactly what it says it's supposed to have in there. When I looked up on the manual that come with it, or didn't come with it, it's online and you look it up. Anyways, that's where we're supposed to be at, but it doesn't hold there. It falls off as soon as, you know, the pump cycle gets done cycling. It doesn't keep the pressure there. So now that makes me think that maybe that little check valve that we had earlier that was supposed to be in line there, that did come with the kit, maybe they told me wrong when I called to ask, you know, how that was supposed to go in there because it didn't have the right fittings to make it work. Maybe it's supposed to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Aces a call back again and talk to them again and kind of just see what their thoughts are on all of this and where I'm standing. And I guess we'll come back here after I get something else figured out for you guys. Okay, so I got off the phone with Aces, and it turns out I'm an idiot. So when we set up the thing, we set it up for a magnetic distributor, I think is what we ended up putting in there, and should have went with the option of coil negative, because that's actually what we're hooking up to. Who would have thought, right? So anyways, long story short, they walked us through all of that and went ahead and hit the key, and it fired up. So we're going to actually show you guys now it firing up. So I'm sitting here editing the video out for you guys, and I thought maybe I should go just a little bit more in depth on this for you so that you guys have a little better understanding of how all this stuff works. So the fact that I selected the wrong distributor meant that I wasn't then giving the computer the information it needed from my distributor to be able to trigger the fuel pump to turn back on. So once I did select the right distributor and it knew what it was looking for and was getting that signal, then it turned on the fuel pump as soon as it started cranking, seeing the RPM start to go, and it went ahead and turned the fuel pump on at that point, which gave us the fuel we needed to actually fire the truck up. Hopefully that helps explain this situation a little bit better for you guys, and if you guys are messing around with one of these, gives you another idea of what to look for if something's not acting right. It's still not running. It wants to run, but I'm sure timing's still out of whack. I'm sure that you know, it needs some more adjustments and whatnot, but we can hear it make some noise anyways, and then we can go ahead and put the front clip back on at this point and get everything all buttoned up where we can run it actually long enough to be able to adjust the thing and make it start to run good. So I guess if you're ready, Connor, go ahead and hit the key and we can let them hear it. That works. It sounded pretty good. Well, I think that pretty well wraps up the install of the kill shot. I do need to do some tuning, like I said, but I don't feel like I'm at any kind of level where I can do a video that would be informative for you guys on that. Maybe after I play with this one a little bit and learn some more stuff about it, then maybe I'll be able to do that. So might look for one of those later on in the future, but for now, we're gonna wrap that up and call that good, and I'm gonna get back to work on putting the rest of the front clip back on here and getting all this stuff up here kind of wrapped up where we can continue to play with that. Now, we've got the truck slid forward, and the plan from here on out is start working on the trailer. Connor's been working a bunch on that, so looking forward to that in next week's video probably. But I think for this one, that's gonna be a wrap. I appreciate you guys watching and following along, and hopefully we'll see you guys again next Wednesday. Goes right on with a little bit of lube, huh?
Oh yeah.
Right. Pick that out of there and be looking at it. Show it to the camera when I talk about it. I was thinking more along the lines of like Vanna White, you know, where
I don't got big enough boobs for that, but
no boobs at all.
no boobs at all.